Hey, what's cracking about your Playa Potna, host of the Motion Country Cuzzin Sir WinnieDahBish, coming at you with part two. First time having part two as well with the illustrious Bradford Wilson. How you doing today, brother?
I'm great, man. Thank you for having me back. We knew we wanted to run it back for round two.
Yeah,
so
we had to run it back. It was
Yeah.
some things we left unsaid, which was pretty good because I think in between that time, I was able to play 2 rounds of golf at places that were, one was a preview play, and then just recently I played at a country club, like one of those ritzy joints that you was talking about last episode. And then I kind of had I'll be perfectly honest with everybody listening, I had a breakdown of myself. I feel like everything had finally, I guess, completed in my life that was like very stressful at the time. And I just shut down, stopped going to the gym, stopped eating. Like I really stopped eating. And I'm a skinny guy, I probably shouldn't be doing stuff like that. So it was like, it was one of those moments where you kind of got to sit back and figure out yourself and like what kind of led me to those moments. And I feel like with having my counselor, with having my like a team of people that I'm like kind of close with that I can talk to, kind of was able to bring me back. I'm very stubborn, so it's hard for me to reach out. So like I'll go through it for a week and then finally reach out, or like be at the wit's end and then finally reach out. Mm-hmm. How are you doing, just clarity wise?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that you were going through it a little bit. I'm glad that it seems like you're kind of on the other side of it. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit, but I'm good. Things are very, very busy right now, but I mean, there's no art on my walls because we're moving soon. That's a big development.
Congratulations.
Thing is, we're moving. We just don't know where to yet. We thought we had. Lord. Yeah, we thought we had this place. It was all lined up. It was great. You know, we got mixed up with a snake oil salesman, man.
Oh my Lord, hate those. Literally hate those. I've heard so many terrible stories about stuff like that.
Yeah, so we're not like, it's not like we're panicking, you know, like we have option B, option C that we're gonna go and visit and check out. Like I would say of all the things going on like in my orbit right now, that's probably top of mind, like this move. Because when you gotta take care of like the walls around you, you know, you gotta
have your safe space.
Clothing on your back, transportation. As long as the 4 walls are up, man, like you can, within reason, you know, function and move throughout the world comfortably, somewhat. But the shelter thing is right now. I'm like, all right, we gotta figure this out. We gotta figure it out.
Yeah, it's like it's definitely frontal lobe working right now. It's nothing you can put on the back burner.
Absolutely.
How's the golf been? Have you been playing golf? I mean, I don't know if people follow you on Instagram, which they probably should, and also subscribe to his YouTube channel, Bradford Wilson Golf, because it's pretty awesome over there as well. But I've been following your Instagram as like a little groupie, and I'm in love with the photo shoots and all the reach outs that people are kind of like pulling Bradford into many directions, which I am super happy for, because it seems like these companies not only like Bradford Wilson, but they align themselves to what you believe in. That's why you kind of like link up with them. Speak on some of the things you have going in your like your IG golf world that people can kind of keep up on, and then we'll get into the real.
Yeah, no, that's thanks for giving me the platform to talk about it. I think sometimes like out in the real world, people kind of shy away from talking about social media presence as if it's like this like shameful thing, like that's all you care about. But to be perfectly honest, like I put time and effort into it, you know, like I do care about my internet presence because I have something to say.
Exactly.
And I have I've taken the responsibility to represent myself the best possible way that I can online, and to represent Black folks in golf online, um, by, through advocacy, or, reposting infographic with some things that folks maybe didn't know, whether it's about Black matters, or whether it's about the queer community, or
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a shirt that I'm wearing, or, an event that I show up to. I use that as the platform to get those ideals out. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, and most recently, I mean, this isn't necessarily social media, but in the last month, I've worked on 3 golf commercials. I'm
Nice.
shooting with, well, I shot with Metalwood Studio, a good friend of mine, Cole Young. He is one of the most interesting humans I've ever met.
Okay.
uh, and his golf clothing is so incredible. Um, Shot with Zexio, which is the parent company to Cleveland, Asics, uh, and one other, Cleveland, Asics, Srixon.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, so I'll actually be up in the Bay next week shooting with them, and in Seattle later in that week shooting with them again. So
Jeez, man. Moves.
yeah, so a lot going on. That and like, that's not even talking about the work that I'm doing with my own podcast, Group Golf Therapy.
Shout them out. Shout out to Drew and Connor, man.
Shout out to Drew and Connor. We're just quickly, we're the podcast that is a mental health podcast disguised as a golf podcast, and we talk about the intersection of mental health and golf, and what makes us laugh and cry and love this sport that sometimes doesn't love us back.
Let's talk about the not loving us back part.
Yeah,
You
let's get
guys should
into
definitely
it.
check out Group Golf Therapy because it's a really great podcast. But no, I think that the not loving us back part is something that I was talking to my wife about last night after I got back because I was super excited. And I was like, I've been to golf courses in my 3 years of playing. Um, and even at like the little janky ass course around the corner from where I live at, it's like I get eyeballed by, the certain community, white guys, like older white men. And I think now it's starting to become like that, my age of white men, 35 and up, 30 and up, starting to like, they give you looks as if like, because I have on a hat that says Trap Golf, or I have my own personal t-shirt on, and I'm rocking shorts and Jordan cleats, or not even Jordan cleats. I'm just out there in Jordans. I don't like wearing spikes. I like to feel. I get looks, and it's the worst thing in the world to feel like you have to walk up to the first tee and prove yourself to like all the fucking gazing eyes behind you. But once you do, it's like you're accepted into this group. It's like, oh, you can really play. That happened to me yesterday. I was at the country club, and I felt like if I was not with the gentleman that I was with, shout out to you, Chris, um, I don't think that I would have gotten the reception that I did. It's in Crestwell, Oregon. Not saying that that's like the worst place to be in Oregon, because there's definitely way worse places. But it definitely is. It's 15 minutes south of where I live at, which is where most of those good old boys decide to like hang and roam. And I try my best to stay away from it because I'm gonna punch bitches in the face, and I'd much rather stay out of jail. So
Valid.
yeah, so I try my hardest to go there and not have that like thought. What are I'm gonna talk more about it, but what are things that like when you go or when you went before? Because I know you were talking about it when you were in college. It happened at fucking practice for you.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of talked to the people about ways that you were able to like navigate through that. And I know that you lost the love of golf and found it again. So like navigate us through like those times. And when you go to courses now as Bradford Wilson, at Bradford Wilson Golf Group Golf Therapy, like as you are the illustrious man you are, like how does it feel still going to these courses and people kind of like second
Yeah.
guess you and screw your nose up?
I mean, 99.999% of golfers still don't know who I am. So I still, they see this black skin first, and that is all that matters, man. I was up at Calabasas like 2 days ago, and one really good encounter, one really weird encounter. The really weird encounter was just from, like one of the attendants, like the driving range attendants, who's like 17 years old, and like just wouldn't let up. Like I'm not a member there. I sneak onto this golf course all the time. So like technically, like he was kind of doing his job, right? But like, but the way he kind of like went about feeling me out was very what it was. It was very like, I'm trying to sniff out what is going on here because you do not look like the rest of our members.
Yeah.
Even though like I had slacks on, I had a polo on, I even had a pair of FootJoys on, and all I was there to do was hit on the grass range. So I dressed the part just to hit the grass range, and still my black skin was enough for him to be like, who are you? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Followed up immediately by someone who followed me on TikTok and was like, yo, is your last name Wilson? Like, oh dude, I follow you on TikTok. Like,
I like how you said your last name Wilson.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to fuck up the first name, baby.
Yes. But... yeah. So I mean, my experience is I've learned to receive those types of encounters and experiences differently than I did when I was in college. In college, I would freeze up. In college, I would just like, I would go along with whatever was happening. Like if they asked me to leave because I wasn't buying anything, I would do it. If they wanted to crack a joke, I would laugh, just to keep from feeling embarrassed, or like I would go along with the joke, or there wasn't much pushback. Now I'm ready to square up. Like it does. Like if this driving range attendant really had that big of an issue, like we could take it there. It's not an issue. And at the end of the day, it's not that deep. I'll just leave. But there is still that sense, that unmistakable feeling that you get when eyes are on you, when you're black and moving through this world, whether you're on the golf course or not. Just unfortunately, the relationship that you and I have is through golf. So that's the lens we're having this conversation. But it is no different on the golf course than it is at ShopRite or walking down Sunset Boulevard or anywhere that we could go. We are very, very aware of our blackness 100% of the time. And when we're in predominantly white situations, it is just heightened. And the navigation, I think, is the acceptance of knowing what we're walking into. Sidebar, if you know where you're going and you know that's going to be predominantly white, like try to your best ability, like feel the place out or ask questions, somebody who's been there before, or like, look at the area first before you walk up. Like, where's a good area for me to go? So I'm kind of out the way, like nobody can bother me. These things are important. Like these are survival skills, on a much smaller scale, but like our ancestors had to go through it too, like where can I get in and fit in and cause the least amount of distraction and just be left the hell alone.
Yeah.
That is what the navigation really looks like.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't kind of like, they hear that from us and they think that we're like, it's like how probably we're just like talking out of our ass. Like that's like
it's very real.
That's generational fear.
Yeah.
That's just being passed down. And it's like you said, it translates to every situation that we're in. It's like our mothers told us leaving the house, like, like, don't be no ass, don't act up, don't have me come down to that school, all those
Right.
things. And it wasn't out of fear of us being in trouble. It was out of fear of her fitting a certain like stereotype of Black single mother who has children who are wild. There you go. We got another one, guys. And I know that she didn't want that. So like, that's why I kind of like love to have these type of conversations with, excuse me, with white people, because it's my job to make you uncomfortable. With me making you uncomfortable, that means that like you are feeling something and you can now make a choice in your own, like, do I want to go completely in with this conversation and talk to him about it? Or do I want to say, fuck it and walk away? So that's it. And I think making people uncomfortable by going into those spaces, like you said, like knowing like, hey, maybe I will be a little further left of the driving range from the clubhouse, but I'm gonna be here. You're still gonna see me. My swing is still probably be better than yours. I putt better than you, like I chip better than you. And that's just because, like, again, historically, we are just really good at whatever we pick up.
Yes.
It's just the mental aspect of getting over having 10 eyeballs on you, having, hearing people talk, and that you're not supposed to talk during people's backswing and all this, but like when you're doing it, it happens. Yeah. So it's like it's small little jabs and chips and things that we have to go through as Black men and women, and it's not fair, but like the way that we get through it seems to be heroic in a sense. It's like, oh, you played there? Oh my God, bro. Like I got told that yesterday. I was like, bro, you played down at EV? Like, look at you. I'm like, nigga, it was a golf course. What are you talking about? Bro, you can go down there too. It's a public golf course. It had the country club feel. It's like semi-public. Gotcha. So like if you know a member, you can get in. And the guy I played with, I didn't know him from Adam. Like I'm my wife's boss's husband. So
got it.
It was one of those moments where it was like I was already going into a super nervous, like, I know I'm meeting a bald white man. That's 2 strikes against you, bro. I'm sorry. You're bald and white. I'm scared. Just so you know. And then I see him and he has on FootJoy. He has on Travis Matthew pants and a Travis Matthew polo and, custom pink. All his irons are fitted to be 7s. And it's custom ping, and I'm like out here with a bag of put togethers. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But again, when he sees my drive off the first tee, and I don't know, I felt like because I was there and I didn't know anybody, my golf game elevated itself without me even trying. I went birdie par on the first 3, and I was like, who the fuck is this? Who is this? Like, yes. I gotta change the title of the podcast. It's not a trash golfer no more. I'm out here. Challenge me.
Right. We're making birdies now. We legit.
Yeah, baby. Who is out here? But to him, he had never seen me golf. So he's like, man, like, you're a great golfer, and I got to get you out here more. We got to get you to the tournaments I'm in. And I'm like, I feel like if we were not connected the way that we were, like your wife didn't know my wife, and his wife is Black, so shout out to you, Trina. His wife didn't know my wife. I don't think that relationship would have happened until at least hole 9 or 10. And I think that's the thing here in Oregon is like you get like you're a single and you get another guy who's a single and they pair with you because they want the game and the pace of play to go by. But it's like every shot is like oh, that was good. Oh, that's a good shot. And like I hear it all the time, but to me, I just feel like it's a jab. Yeah. I don't know. Is that something that me saying that out loud and you being big bro, how would you explain that I should just like address that situation moving forward?
Honestly, I think you just get used to it. You've been golfing for 3 years, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the expectation is that as time goes on, your game gets a little better, and those comments come less. It's like an inverse graph. Yeah, algebra is failing me at this moment, but yeah, like the longer you play, the more confident you are with your swings, the more you come to expect good shots to happen. And upon playing with someone for the first time and someone you met through 2 other people who doesn't really know you, like it's reasonable to expect comments about your game, whether they're good or bad. Like,
Okay.
especially about the first time them playing with you.
All right.
That all of that to say, that does not take away the optics of a white man seeing a tall, dreaded black man hit a golf ball well.
Yeah. Okay.
Where have we seen that in
Ever.
pop culture? Right.
In ever, yeah.
In ever. So there's definitely a level of like, I know where that came from.
Yeah, that's definitely is like
that's unmistakable, you know.
Like, yeah, so I'm just gonna try now to like make par every time, and hopefully I kick your ass and you gotta follow me on every shot, which,
right,
which he had to do for the rest of the day, and it was awesome. Yeah, it's just, I think those are great feelings. I want to kind of transition into the realm that we're in. I sent messages to both Connor, Andrew, and then the group golf therapy, like IG, all at once, and I was just like, I truly appreciate the fact that I met you and started listening to this podcast that you guys have, because it's kind of given me more of a like footing whenever I go out and I talk to people about what my podcast is and what I want out of this podcast and what I want out of golf with like our type of community, because I kind of like ingrain Connor and Drew into our community as well, and my friends Josh and Troy. They're off-whites is what I call them. they're not white, they're off-white, you know what I'm saying? They're just beige because they get it. And if they don't, like, they don't have to like actually physically feel it and be right there with us, but to have the wherewithal to understand it and to have the open conversations about it kind of helps us out. So I sent messages to you guys. I don't know if you read it, but it was like, I'm recording a podcast after this where I'm just honestly thanking as many people as possible as like my opener, because without people like you guys who don't know the impact that you have, and this is kind of like a keep going type thing, bro, like we're gonna talk more, but the impact that podcast has had on me within the small frame of work that I've listened to it in has elevated my talking presence when I'm on this podcast, because now I say to people when I talk to my homeboys about it, I thought it was a golf podcast. No, it's a Black podcast. This is two Black dudes sitting down having a therapy session. I just happen to play golf. You just happen to rap. Let's talk about how these things coincide and how our Black lives all coincide. So you guys have literally like given me a cape of some sort to where I feel like I'm a superhero for the Black community, where men younger than me don't want to talk to a therapist. And I talk about going to therapy and talking about counseling as if it's like going to the rec.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you guys have given to me. So keep going. Podcast, Patreon, Discord, keep going, because you guys are going to eventually like make an impact to where it's going to stop talking to me, please. I'm at dinner. Like I thank you for the comments, but I'm trying to eat dinner right now. Like my mom's here, because people are going to be on you. You guys are fucking phenomenal. Thank you,
man.
Just had to say that. About to tear talking about that, dude.
That is high praise, man.
I'm serious. I'm about to tear about that, because like growing up, I only thought it was basketball, football, or trapping. Like that was it. So to grow up and know that like I can use my voice and not like be rah-rah with it. Like I can use my proper tones and talk to people and get our points across, like get the shit that we feel across. Because it's a weight. Everything's weighted. Everything that we go through is weighted. Talking to people about me being a podcast host, like, oh, what is it about? And I'm like, oh, it's about life, honestly, because it's just, I mean, the title is What's Happening with Winnie, and it's what's up with me that day, that time, that personal phrase is, how can I invite people into my realm that I enjoy, that I want to big up, but also kind of like see what we can get out of it in a growth aspect. And that's why I like talking to you, because, or even listening to you talk, because like, it's not just about, the Black community with you, it's our trans community that seems to still be getting attacked viciously throughout everything. And they just had the 7th annual Athlete Ally Awards, which was amazing. I watched it. It was lit. I didn't know. I mean, that's 7th annual, bro. Like, it's 7 years of that shit happening and people don't know about it.
Yeah.
So for me, I felt like I'm now like breaking into new barriers. And as a father as well, I get to talk to my daughter about this shit. How do you feel the impact of what you're doing can like kind of take that? Do you think that the mental aspect of like us being kind of like muted is going to ever change with how we are, coming into the world and like breaking barriers in golf, breaking barriers in soccer, breaking barriers in, politics and all this? Do you think that the weighted conversation will ever change? I know that's super long-winded question because I was talking most of the time, but
No, that's it added really important context to the question. I think with podcasts like yours and mine and conversations like the one we're having right now, we can chip away at that. We can chip away at that weight. But even saying that through a $100 microphone and $2,000 laptop, we're saying that from a place of privilege a little bit,
yeah, a little bit, just a bit.
But it's only up from here, like, yes, the weight will get lighter. Mental health, open, honest conversations, social awareness, all of those things are on the rise. So eventually, in my heart of hearts, I believe we will get to a place where conversations like this are common, where judgment is met with empathy more often, and Black men specifically will become more secure and more compassionate toward one another and more friendly toward one another. It is going to be a struggle. I mean, we're talking to 2 Black men right now. We know how hard that is going to be amongst the Black male community.
And you're also listening to 2 Black men who speak from lanes of logic, which is very hard when it comes to our community because it's crabs in a barrel. And it's fucking difficult. I had this conversation I'm sorry to cut you off, but I had this conversation with the guy on my other podcast, another episode. And I kind of just asked him, like, where do you think we can go from here? Do you think we can have like Sunday meetings where Black men sit down and logically speak? And his thought was like, it'll take a while because money and his phrase, quote, money and pussy are going to ruin niggas' minds, end quote.
Yeah. That there's it's not a grain of truth. It's a boulder of truth in that. I mean, yeah, man, I have to shout out the Movember Foundation right now.
Okay.
I'm currently in the midst of an 11-week business development program with the Movember Foundation. They've teamed up 10 Black male content creators from LA to basically be in this incubator where every week we're getting mentored and we're getting lessons from mental health experts. We're talking about self-care. We're literally on, like, via Zoom, 10 Black men we meet every week. We have these open and honest discussions. We have conversations exactly like the one we're having right now, which you say, listening to me has elevated conversations that you're having on your own. But I have to credit these guys that I'm in this cohort with, man. They're incredible, and I learned so much from them. And as long as you and I can do this, and there are programs like that exist, we're coming on week 10 of 11. We just finished week 9, so we're getting, we're rounding third base. but I've
Yeah.
learned so much, and the honesty that all of us bring to these meetings every week is
Mm.
it's inspiring, not only just to hear different perspectives, because there's comedian, there's a singer, there's a music producer, nobody is a golfer except me, so
Yeah.
it's very, very diverse. Black people, we contain multitudes, so it is really, really good to bounce ideas off of different but like-minded folks.
Yeah.
They're all just taking different routes up the same mountain, you know?
That's a beautiful thing, man. I think
Yeah.
that's awesome, bro.
My
That is
hope is
super.
that it starts in LA because we're the first one. We're the first group that Movember is doing this with. My hope is that it goes to different regions.
Mhm.
Um, and my hope is that I'm asked to, like, not quality assurance, but like I want to be involved with the program some more because it's given me so much already. And not only in just like prioritizing my own self-care and my own mental health, because that's the primary focus of this program, but in how I speak about it, the
Yeah.
language that I use, um, the putting a little bit more medicine in the candy of my social media presence, with regard to self-care
Yes,
and
sir.
do no harm and just mental health awareness, all of it. I'm learning so much, and I need this program to go national because it's going to change lives.
Yeah, I think I was talking about this, forgot with who, but a couple weeks back. Actually, the week after me and you had our podcast, I was literally on a high, just like I can't wait because you were the first podcast recorded for the second season.
Mm.
So I was like, I can't wait to get all this going, bro. Like that conversation just hyped me up for like thousands of. I want to have 5 seasons just like this. Um, but I was talking to a couple that week, and I was like trying to reach out to the boys, and I was like, "Oh, bro, what are your thoughts on mental? What are your thoughts on going to therapy?" And my wife was like, "You should just like that exact thing." I didn't know Movember was a thing, but she was like, "Just set up like a Zoom meeting to see how many of your boys will come." And like trick them kind of into coming in where you're just like, yo, but you don't talk about this and that. And then you just throw mental health awareness out there for them and like small nuggets and see who stays and goes and kind
Yeah.
of like make it a precursor for young Black men to go to counseling, go to therapy, or be able to talk openly and freely. Because like that's always for the last 4 years, that's been my thing. Like we don't have Sunday meetings as Black people. So we don't know how we're all doing. We don't know as a community. Uh, the LA community is completely different than the Portland community, than the Seattle community, than the Miami and Atlanta community. So it's like if we all had a kind of a generalization of what we wanted, which if it's me, I want us to all have some type of PTSD training because we all come from fucked up backgrounds. Um, and similarities in households kind of range. You could have like both parents, one parent, but like you kind of live the same steps at some point. So that's why you said like climbing up the mountain different ways, but we're all trying to get to the same point makes sense because we all came from the same point. It's just it was different spots. So I think that Movember is a great thing, and that sounds like it's something that should be more nationalized and even like commercialized. Like
Yeah.
we should have big money backing behind things like that, and
Right.
behind uh, the education of mental health and the education of like the PTSD and all the trauma that kind of comes from being in impoverished neighborhoods. Because I know white guys who live in the trailer parks. We got the same stories.
Right. Right.
It's just you off white and I'm not. So it's like so yeah, it's just I think those type of moments need to be said and heard more and accepted more by everybody. I think that's the biggest thing is the acceptance of it
Yeah.
by the Black community. Because we don't want to talk about nothing because our mama said keep our business in house. Don't
Right.
be outside telling our business to nobody. So
Right.
you kind of
Man,
feel
that's
like
that's the beautiful thing about our generation though too, man. Like I think we're more willing to adapt, and we have the advantage of technology
Mhm.
where we can do this, and I've never met you in person, but I get you.
Yeah.
And to know that a Portland, Atlanta, Miami, New York experience is still somewhat similar to mine is a great connector.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, like I just, if there's anything that I could say to folks like us, like it's have open conversations with your friends. Leave the bullshit, drop the capes, like
Yeah.
just look your friend in the eye and just have it out, you know? Like
That's what you need.
you
It's
just
all
need
right.
it.
It's all right to not be Instagram hot. It's
Right.
okay. This is real life. I get it. I took the picture for you. I saw you clapping. I saw you shaking that ass. I took the picture. But can we talk about why we were crying in the car when we were drunk?
Right.
Can we please talk about that? Because that right there seems to be more important to me than any of this other shit.
Right.
And I think that's kind of where, and I would relate this to having a daughter. Having like a lot of the men that are in my life tell me like, oh man, you got a little girl now you got to open up. You got a little girl now you can't be as like gorilla 24/7. And I was like, oh yeah, I can, because I'm a dad. I'm a girl dad. I got to protect my baby. And the best way to protect my daughter is for me to be vulnerable and open with her. Let her know like I got faults, daddy cries, I got feelings. Like we fight, like she beats me up all the time. She's gonna come over here in 2-3 hours and punch me right in the gut the second she sees me. Not a hug, not a kiss, not a love you, daddy. Just a straight shot. My little project baby. But but I think when I look at her, I see everything that I didn't receive. And this isn't a knock to my mom, because she was just doing the best that she could with
Mhm.
what the resources that she had. So like you said, with the technology and with our generation being more open to knowledge, I think that's very big, especially in the space of like, you see more Black fathers involved. You see more complete families. You see more married young Black people or married mixed couples. This is just the next evolution of our process. Is like we've muted all the other and killed all the other negatives that we've had. Now it's time to talk about the
Yeah.
real issues out loud.
Breaking generational curses is what I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's
I talked to my
definitely
sister about that a lot. My sister is 11 years older than me. She has a 15-year-old son, my nephew. Um, and we talk about breaking generational curses all the time. Um, and every I'd say like every three conversations, we kind of like have this. It's not that we hate mommy and daddy, you know, it's just like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, for sure.
where you like, you realize for 30 minutes you've just been shitting on your parents and you're like, wait. It's not because I hate them. No, it's not that. It's we just want to upgrade
Yep. And
the
that's
next
fine.
generation's experience.
And that is completely fine. And yeah, but I want you to elaborate on like the generational curses and breaking those. But yeah, that's definitely it. Like I have those conversations like out loud with my friends or like with people that I talk to, and I'm like, just so you guys know, like I love my. I could call her right now. That's my best. That's my nigga. I love her to death.
Yeah, right,
It's my
right.
homie, the ride or die. No, good or bad, she's in my corner.
Yes.
But I know if she could go back with new tools and do it over again, I'm pretty sure she would tighten some loose screws, she would fix some things. But you cannot fault people for having generational curses. She was the only mixed child in her family, so she had injustice and prejudices, excuse me, in her own household by her mom
Yeah.
and dad. Uh, so she's only dealing with the best that she had. So talk to me about like certain generational curses, or at least like if you could break one worldwide for Black people, or at least American, because I feel like Africans are kind of more locked in. What would you want to see? Like, what would you want that to be?
1 and 1A would be mental health and financial literacy.
Talk to me about it now.
Because, man, the mental health thing, I think we have been very, very open about our feelings about that and why that's important to us as individuals. I mean, just expand that, you know, times 1.5 9 billion, however many black folks are on this, this country.
Yeah,
But like if that were a priority of the next generation to prioritize mental health and support groups and therapy and whatever version of therapy looks like for them, that would probably be one. And then 1A is financial literacy, because with clarity, yeah, if we take care of step one, we take care of the mental health part. With clarity, we can walk into the financial literacy part.
hmm
And there are certain things that are just outside of our control, right? Like
yes,
redlining, gerrymandering, voter suppression, um, police brutality, the list goes on. There are things that are just outside of our control.
for sure.
Um, but the literacy part comes in where we can use other resources. We can have conversations with financial experts, leaders, mentors. We can start investing early. We can start saving early. We can start having conversations about awareness of those things in our
Yeah,
households early. Bro, there were zero conversations about money in my house.
not a damn one.
Zero. The only time I can remember my folks talking about money is when the bankruptcy happened and we were moving and it was just happening to us. Like,
Mm.
I didn't know how we got there. I just knew that, like, oh, you have to change schools tomorrow. Like, how did we get there? Like,
Yeah, the only time money got talked in our house was when bills were late. You know
yes,
what I'm saying?
right.
So how
And
the fuck
like,
we gonna pay these bills?
and like, I had both my parents, they both had jobs.
Yeah,
It's not like we were out here, bro. Like, I had a good life. I went to private school. Like, so it's not like I was like out here, but
hmm
financial literacy was not a priority of my folks at all.
no,
And like, going back to their childhood or their generation, my mom was an army brat. She moved around a lot, and her dad was, uh, Lewis, I love you, but you were a piece of shit to her. So there was no time. She was on guard all the time. Like,
yeah,
there was no time for her to be, you know, thinking about her financial situation. Um, then she met my dad and fell in love and had me. So, and my dad was a single. He grew up in a single parent household.
hmm
He started working at 17 and he was the sole provider of his family, and like, that was all he knew. And it was like,
jeez.
if I have money in my account, I'm gonna spend it. And if is like, that was it, bro. That's it. And this man is out here with a family now. He's just like,
He was
here.
like, "Hey, I got it, baby."
If I got money in the account, I'm spending it.
Would you say
Like,
75 in there?
right.
Bring the bottle. I got it.
Right. Or it's 25 to fill my tank. I got 30 in the account. All right, let me get 15, and I'm gonna take the 15 and then go get some dinner. Like, you know
Let
what
me
I
get
mean?
15 on
Like,
pump three, please. Yeah.
right. Like, all right, but where's the bit you're gonna save? Or like, where's the bit you're gonna,
No, don't worry about
yeah,
that.
it's in the account, so I'm gonna spend it. That is that
hmm
man's mentality.
Yeah.
And watching that kind of behavior was like, that set me up for like, oh well, that's how I behave too.
So I was like, you set us up for complete failure, bro. Bro,
Yeah.
you're stabbing you're poking holes in your cup before water's even in there. You're spending
Yes.
money before you get it. Yeah.
Yes. So these are the conversations me and my sister have all the time. And then, and usually about like 10, 15 minutes in, we have to be like, shh, that's your mom. That is
Hey, yeah, you didn't
that is
call
your
them
dad.
off.
Yeah.
That's not my mom at this point. Mommy taught me how to cook. That's your mom who
Right.
taught you that bad shit. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Right. So that's the generational curses part. Like, uh I mean, also, I mean, just speaking to my number one priority for us going forward, the mental health part, like, my dad at 65 is now realizing like he's got some stuff from his teen years that he hasn't unpacked. So
Wow.
that's a conversation I'm trying to work in with him now. My mom has been in and out of therapy for the better part of 2 years, which I'm so glad she finally has come around to. Um, but it took, staying on them for that thing to happen.
Yeah.
Whereas, someone like my sister's age is only, that 10 to 15 years older than our, she's like Gen X technically.
Okay.
Um, uh, those conversations can happen a little quicker the closer it gets to our age, and then going younger, like Gen Z is on it. They're like, self-care is so important. Like
That's all they care about.
it's self-care.
It's
It
dope.
is yeah. It's a much quicker, much easier conversation to have with them.
They're all
But
open. They're just so open.
right, they're mad open. They're like,
I
they
fucking
lead with
love it.
empathy. They validate one another. They
I fucking love it so much, dude. I'm like, you
it's like,
babies.
that's why I stay on TikTok, bro. Like
I
they
ain't gonna.
get
Hey,
it.
I literally tell them all the time, like, I'm holding the wheel for you guys in these
Yeah.
conversations until you're old enough for people to listen to you, and then I'm in the backseat rolling up joints while you guys are kicking ass because y'all are way
Right.
more beating down doors than I ever thought I would be. So
Yes,
take it,
man. It's
take it,
inspiring.
babies.
It really is.
And I feel what I can kind of like correlate that to is like they don't have to pick. They don't have to pick whether they want to be like social activists on this or that. They're like, ¿por qué no dos? Why not both?
Right.
Why can't I like be queer and be Black? Why can't we like slam the doors and beat the drums for the trans community, the Black community, and like the Native American? Why can't we all just whatever, fuck your what you thought the rules were? This is how we're doing it. And it's insane to think about, because your mom's generation and my mom's generation, they couldn't pick. It was either you had to be a Black woman, or you either had to be Black or you had to be a woman. You couldn't be a Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
It was terrible because those voting rights those things were happening around the same time. Like civil rights happened, and then like women's rights happened. So
Right.
it's like they never had a fucking choice to be a woman or Black. They had to literally pick. So like now, I think that's the generational curse, and those are some of the things that like our parents are starting to like kind of unravel in their baggage, because like I can be both.
Yeah.
I could have like stood up on both pedestals at the same. So like now, I love the fact that we have these conversations with our parents. Because I talk to my mom all the time. I'm like, girl, if you got a whole brick and mortar barbershop, get on it. I wish that I was there to help promote you more, but I'm not. I can only promote you from the crib.
Yeah.
Go out there and work your shit, because like she's always been my superhero. Always. Her and my big brother. My big brother, that's a story that we can talk about. He has his demons that he has to battle. But my mom has always been my superhero. And like now to see like sometimes she falters on herself, or like now that I'm more aware as an adult, I see like the moments that I felt like she was sad, she was just second guessing herself and depressed because she was beaten up so much, like mentally and physically. And like now you don't have anything. Like we are all gone. And if anything, I want to be your biggest supporter. So like tell me how I can help you out. Tell me how we can hype you up and like make you feel more comfortable in being mommy. And that's all I want. So like I think my thing would be mental health as well. Because again, with mental health and with the understanding of finances, we can kind of like help out the education that the educational issues that we have. Because when money goes back into our communities, the taxes go up, which means we get more government funding, which means the schools get more money. Right. So you don't have to have a thing as a private school and a public school.
Right.
We all have the same educational value.
Right.
So that's where I'm at. So like I'm 100% on board with everything on your list. 1A, 1B, 1A, and then 1B. That's definitely how it would be for me as well. I had a question in mind really quick. Here it is. I don't know how long you got. I want to keep it, but this is a question I've always wanted to ask. You are, again, you're still baby stepping it in the process of the social media world. How do you feel? Because I know that you asked your community, your followers, what are ways that they can reset after feeling like they've like had so much on them? What are ways that you reset? Do you feel like, and I'm not, we have not talked about this, and I'm just gay. I'm going off of why I would say something like that if I was in your shoes. Do you feel like it's pressure on you being a Black golf content creator that also is a Black activist for the LGBTQ community and for Black people? Do you feel like that's a very big weight on you, and like that's what kind of like closed those walls in? Because I do. I feel like it's very hard on guys like you and Roger and, you know, like Roy Blackroy to be in the spaces that you're in, because like people kind of look at you as a gimmick, but you're fucking serious about this. And like, this isn't a game to you. Like, you want to grow the game of golf, both mentally and through like people seeing us on the course. So like, is that kind of like correct in saying?
It's a good question, though. That's not where the pressure comes from.
Okay.
I carry that stuff around with me round the clock. So there's not so much pressure to like perform or to have this public facing persona, because I try to show up as authentically as I can through my content and through talking to my audience. I would say the pressure or the reason I was, you know, public with that question and wanted to get a sense of what people's self-care and what it looks like when they unplug and things like that is because I just want to do it all the time. I want to be on all the time, but you can't.
It's like, yeah, dude, you're gonna burn out.
Yes. And if I'm someone who co-hosts a mental health podcast and has my own brand to protect and am also in the acting world and creating my own series and active on social media, if I'm to do all of that and show up as myself, I've got to have balance. And of late, I've been struggling to do that because I try to give of myself like the most authentic presence that I can. But with that, you know, I'm mining for my own personal experiences all the time. And not everything is for everyone. And I can't always give myself, and I can't always be present. So I think the pressure or the struggle that I've had is just being on, and things are great. Like I'm not complaining about anything. I'm not.
Yeah, you don't have to preference that, baby. I promise you, bro. You don't have to preference it like that, because like I get it.
Yeah.
Like I walk out of my, I'm not any, I will call myself at this exact moment a local act. I'm still trying to get my feet wet and like building social media presence, but I get it. I walk out my house as WHWW. Like, I am a host. Like, I walk out of my house as your country cousin. So I want people to be able to come and reach me and talk to me.
Yeah.
But then you come home, and like, I understand, like, when I come home, I can't be that way, but my office is here. So I record here and I stream here and I edit videos and pictures here. It's like, when do you get that chance to be Bishop? Like, how do I unplug all these fucking wires that are attached to me? How do you unplug, you know, these commercials and these ads coming at you just to be Bradford for like an hour? And that's asking a lot out of yourself too, because I know that you want so much, but like, yeah, it's very hard. So like, you don't have to preference your comments by saying like,
gotcha.
I know you're not ungrateful.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I just think like we have an idea of what it looks like to like capture success or like get the thing, you know, like I put it on my vision board and I got it, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that drives a lot of um, that drives a lot of folks who want to be public facing, you know. But then the question becomes, what do you do when you get it?
Yep.
And is it everything that you think? And in a lot of cases, the answer is no.
Mhm.
So how do you pivot? How do you adjust? How do you leave room in your heart to give grace to that situation without
And
feeling like, you know, the walls have crashed in or that your world is crumbling? Um, Case in point, I wanted to work with someone so bad, so bad. I've been watching their videos, I've been commenting, I've been subscribing, I bought the merch, you know, I really drank the Kool-Aid. Then I got to meet this person, then I got to work with this person. Turns out they weren't that great.
oh
And
wow.
like it ended up benefiting me in a very big way. But the personal interaction, the professionalism or lack thereof was a gut punch to me.
Hmm.
And to be honest with you, I'm still reeling from that experience.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah. Um, so that's kind of the tricky thing is like it's on your vision board, you know, and then you get it, and then
Was it worth it?
yeah, was it worth it, or should I have just, you know, kept my head down and stayed on the path that I was on? So those are the questions that sometimes swirl around and cause you to question, you know, your own path and things like that. So like every once in a while, you need that time to reset. You need that time to step away. You need that time to prioritize your own self care, which I needed.
Hmm.
And so long-winded answer to it, it's not so much the pressure to fill the shoes that I've cobbled for myself. It is uh it's being authentic all of the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You should not have to feel pressure. Uh, I'm talking out of my ass at that point. I'm not going to tell you what you should feel. Just know that you have a support system. I feel like that would allow you to unplug as long as you need it to make sure that the Bradford that they love and that they care about is here for the next 10, 15, 20 years as like not just a shell of who that is. They don't want you to be the shell Bradford. I'm pretty sure they want the substance that's in there.
Yeah.
So take that fucking time to unplug that phone, put that bitch on airplane mode. Sit and play Scrabble or something, man. Play by yourself, do something
I
weird.
like crosswords.
Yeah, see, like that's my wife. My wife will sit here and do crossword puzzles while she's actually typing a word. She's like,
Yes.
7. I'm like, bitch, what are you doing, you psychopath? No, I know we could talk for hours, and I just want to get one more thing from you. If you could talk to Bradford of old, if you could talk to Bradford 5 years ago, if you could talk to Bradford 10 years ago, what would be things that you kind of like wanted them to hold and let go?
5 years ago, pay your fucking car note, dude. Just pay it.
It's
Just,
not worth it.
bro, just pay it. You don't need another Oxford shirt for this job that you hate. You don't need it. Just pay the fucking car note.
You're a fool. You're a fool.
10 years, I would say, honestly, yeah, I leave that job too. Just stack your bread. You weren't making enough. Just you know that LA is on the horizon. You already know LA is on the horizon. You're gonna need a cushion.
Save up.
I hate that both of these things are financial, but they
Hey, it goes back to financial literacy. You know
for real. But yo, man, it's so I'm glad you asked those two increments though, because they point to a very specific time where I had started to see the gates opening. I'd started to see, where I wanted to be, and I wasn't
Mhm.
prepared. I just wasn't.
Okay.
And it wasn't so much that my heart wasn't in the right places or that my vision wasn't, I wasn't looking in the right direction, because those things were true. I needed to have the structure
For
before
sure.
I could chase those dreams. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I moved out here in 2015 and had no money in the bank. Don't do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was me moving to Oregon with a military duffel bag and 150 in my pocket on a one-way ticket. I was like, I'm gonna make this work.
Dog, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Stay an extra year if you have to.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, it's not. I mean, you're gonna go. You know it's there.
right.
Stack a little bit more. I could
That's
have hustled
it.
for a year, been all right. Came out here with a car. I came out to this
Right.
rainy ass state, like in Chicago or Tennessee or some shit. Like, oh, I can walk everywhere. No, you can't, because it rains 9 months out of the year
Right.
here, so you can't do nothing.
Right. Don't do that.
Nah. Again, I'll do this for everybody. I'm gonna give you your screen time, and whatever you want to speak about, speak about. You got it.
Um, Something I'm really excited about is the PGA Tour's acceptance and acknowledge of Black History Month in 2022. It's been a long conversation. I have to give credit and acknowledgement to folks like Maurice Allen and to Kenyatta Ramsey and to Mackenzie Mack and uh, Nisha and Seema Sadaker, who have been a part of the conversation and in driving this social awareness and social change on the highest level in golf. Um, if there's any value that I can add to the conversation, I hope to be able to do that. Uh, so be on the lookout for Black History Month content at the highest level. Finally, uh, I think I think we're in for some good content soon. That's what's coming up, and group golf therapy will be on the road too. So stay tuned.
Whoa, what? Group golf therapy is on the road now.
Yeah.
These guys, man. They went got a Patreon on y'all fools. They went got a Discord. Now they got a bus. They just out here doing it all. I love it.
The bus is coming.
No, I love it, man. I appreciate you, brother. I could talk to you for hours on at a time. And I know there's probably some things that we skipped over, but I enjoy talking to you, and I appreciate you for taking the time, reaching out to our local podcast, wanting to hop on and kind of build some awareness for us, and hopefully we can get some more eyes and viewers on Bradford and group golf therapy and the shit that they got going on. Stay tuned, because this guy's amazing. The things that they have coming up are very great. I enjoy his energy and all that stuff, his space and his time. So with that being said, guys, I am your Play Potna host of the most, your country cousin, Sir WinnieDahBish. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your afternoon, your day. That's Bradford Wilson. Love you. Peace.
Bye.